Guys, I'm so excited. I have Yael Rose with me today. She's over in London, England, to share her chronic fatigue syndrome or ME/CFS journey. I'm really excited about this video. I know you're going to really like it because there are a couple of things that you've been asking me for a lot, and she is experienced with, or this is a part of her journey. One is that she is a mother, and I know that we don't have a lot of stories up there about how to navigate these sorts of illnesses while also being a parent. And also, although she's made significant progress with her recovery, because she was at one point bedbound, and so she's doing obviously much better now, but she's still not fully recovered. And I get a lot of people asking for more stories of people who are still in it, and just to hear more about that experience and how they're coping with things. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this today.
I can't believe I'm here. It's, as I said before, it's like having a celebrity.
And I said hardly. You're the real star here. I know it's can be a vulnerable and scary thing to put your story out there into the world, but I know people are going to appreciate it so much. So can you take us back? How has this all gone for you?
So I have two timelines. I have the official timeline, which started January 2020. I had COVID for the first time, and I didn't know it was COVID at the time. I just knew I have this mysterious virus, very strange, that made me, really want to just be in bed from the afternoon. So I had to do all the cooking for the kids and everything in the morning, and then collapse into bed in the afternoon. And one of my children also had it. And I've noticed I was really short of breath, just going through a few stairs, up a few stairs. And a few months later, they said that COVID also gives you shortness of breath. And then I asked my son, hey, remember when we were sick that time, did you have shortness of breath? He said, yes. So that's why I think I had COVID. And the thing, what was strange about it is that it never really went away. So I kind of recovered and then had the symptoms again, recovered, had the symptoms again. But I kind of just went and rested every time I needed to, and eventually after about a year, I kind of felt normal again. Maybe it was longer than a year, because not long after I started feeling normal again, I had COVID for the second time, and that was on November 21.
So I'm calling this ME/CFS, but it sounds like this all started with COVID, and this has been a long COVID experience.
So that's one timeline.
Okay. I know there's a lot of overlap, so one name versus the other doesn't always mean much.
Yeah, sorry. So looking back, I can see how probably it started before. Did that make sense? So then I got COVID again, and it was really, really bad. And then I started getting, kind of looks like I'm getting COVID again. Then I'm getting better, getting COVID, but every time the symptoms are a little bit less. And, went to the doctor. Everything said within 3 months, probably most people would recover. So that became my new mantra. Great, by February, I'm going to be fully recovered. End of February, trying to manifest myself into health. February come and gone, and I'm still going through this. And it wasn't until someone mentioned to me ME, and I started researching, that I kind of diagnosed myself. Then I saw your channel, and everything started to click into place, and I literally diagnosed myself, and it all made sense, because I also had a holiday in the middle. And up till the day before I went on holiday, I was in bed. And then I went, and when I came back, I crashed again, and I tried to understand what was happening, why was it the place, and when I understood the boom and bust cycle, it all made sense. So that's the official timeline, but when I look back, and I look at my health, and I look at how I didn't listen to my body, I had periods of time when I would have loads of motivation, then followed by not being able to follow through on work projects, for example, and how much overwhelm I had in my life prior to that. I think that it's something that I I was developing prior to COVID.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of us see, I'm sure you've seen in the interviews, we have our official time that it started, but when we look back, we can see contributing factors and, all these different things set it off for us. But we're all questioning, okay, how come other people got better from this thing and I didn't? So it sounds like our bodies were already in a state where it was just sort of a perfect storm. And this is the final thing that we just don't come back from, at least not immediately.
And I remember seeing some of the people saying in your videos that they see it now as a gift, and I was not there at all. And I can see all the times that my body tried to whisper and I didn't hear, and they say, listen to your body when it whispers, so you don't have to hear it when it screams. And that's what I feel that I've got to a place where my body had to just say, no, just stop now.
So I imagine when you started looking online and you started learning about ME, I would think it would be partly a relief to have a name for what you were going through, but then a lot of the stuff online is quite discouraging. So what did you think when you were like, okay, I think this is it?
But I was lucky because I kind of got to your channel pretty quickly. I'm allergic to negativity, so I probably wouldn't have liked the forums anyway that you mentioned before. For me, it was a massive relief. Massive. And I actually saw someone who did a podcast say doesn't believe in diagnosis. I think that this diagnosis helped me so much because once I have a diagnosis and I know what I'm dealing with, one, I know I'm not crazy. Because I thought, you think you just, I don't know, am I lazy? What is going on? And yeah, it really helped me because then through your videos, I got to other people, which I really want to mention after, and started to see progress. And without the diagnosis, I would still be going back and forth to my doctor who would be telling me that. When I first heard of me as well, I went to a doctor and she said about pacing. And I said, oh, okay, so maybe I can do 500 steps a day this week and then add another 500 next week. And she was like, yeah, she was really sweet. And she's like, yeah, and by the summer you could walk on 10,000 steps. And I was like, yeah, but it's totally not how it works. I'm very grateful that I came to you. So without it, I wouldn't have, would I? I would have never find you.
Because this got quite severe for you at times, because you said you were bedbound for a time. So what was that like?
I just have a picture of my mind of me just laying there like that, looking something in my room and just thinking, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in my body. This just feels so horrible. Because what people don't know, this community knows, but a lot of people don't know. They think, oh, chronic fatigue syndrome is really tired, but it's the horrible, scary symptoms. The feeling, the helplessness, as a mother. I have 5 children. As a parent, you have mom guilt. The mom guilt is such a big thing. And also as a woman, you carry the mental load, so you know everything that needs to be done all times. And not being able to do any of those things, not being able even to listen to my daughter when she comes back from school, which is such a basic thing and something that she really, really needs, and being able to, not being able to do that, and just the guilt of them eating junk food all the time. Just this horrible feeling. It's kind of like the worst thing that's ever happened to me, being bedbound. I really love my life. I have such a fulfilling life. And at the time I didn't really see any benefit to it. Now I can see clearly, quite a lot of gifts that I'm getting from this condition. But I wasn't there and I was just miserable. And I really hate to think about that time.
So how did you go about trying to figure out how to recover from such a sick state and with 5 children?
Well, I had to become very, very selfish, which is part of the things that I'm called to learn here because, I'm kind of a person that puts everybody else first. And yes, I was doing self-care, but not to the level that I'm doing now. And So the first thing that gave me really a lot of comfort, and we'll talk about it later, there was a Louise Hay meditation. And when I'm laying down in bed and I can't move, at least putting things into my brain that are positive. And she has meditations, gratitude morning meditations that gives you, kind of puts you in a positive mindset. That was a really big comfort to me when I was bedbound. I literally couldn't move. And then when I started watching your videos, I started watching one with Pamela Rose. So I reached out to her and I worked with her. Now, Pamela is an angel, as you know, is an absolute angel, and she has mastered the art of pacing. She really made it into an art. I also watched your free course, by the way. So the video, and I worked with Pamela. And since I started working with Pamela, I never had another big, long crash again. It took me a little bit of time, and I still had some days, like maybe a week-long crash, but I never had those crazy ones. And then I got to sort of like a steady baseline. And then I saw an interview. It all relates back to your videos, okay? So then I saw an interview with Jason. I Can Thrive, Jason, and I knew I couldn't work with him, but I still made an appointment with him. And I said, "Listen, I can't work with you." And he was incredible, and he was so amazing. And he recommended loads of books, and then he recommended the Gupta program. And so I signed up to the Gupta program, which, a lot of people, sometimes in the videos, they say that the Gupta program doesn't have this and it doesn't have that, where in fact it has everything. When you look really deeply into it, that's from a coach's standpoint. It has everything. It even has somatic tracking, is Soften and Flow. It's his own version of somatic tracking. It has, psychological, it has loads of stuff. And that was very, very helpful to me. But I always thought I was going to be one of those people that, like Jason said, I think within 2 weeks he was climbing mountains, and within 2 months he was fully worked out. I was like, that's going to be me. But no, it's sadly not. Apparently some of us are like, sprinters, some of us are marathon runners, so I'm a marathon runner. Then Pamela recommended a naturopath who is amazing as well. Her name is Maya Oakley, and because I didn't want to just take loads of supplements without a reason. And then she, helped me look at my bloods, and now I know I'm taking all the things to support me. These are the things that help me. And I have a shiatsu practitioner that I used to do once in a month, once in 2 months, and now I do it regularly, and I found that very, very helpful. And then recently I've watched Rebecca Tolin. So I started doing one of her meditations, and through her I got to Jim Pruzak from the Pain PT, which I really love as well. So I'm doing that. And I used to have very, very bad sleep prior to also getting sick. And so I have 2 meditations that are kind of like more hypnosis based. One is Dana Picher. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She had CFS before, and that puts me right to sleep. And then the other one is from Andrew Johnson. I also did some inner work with the theta healing, healer. And meditation has been massive for me because, as I said, when you're really, 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 really tired and there's nothing you can do, you can't even move, or when you have a dip, which still happens to me, at least I have that comfort of the meditations, plus the somatic tracking and the soft and flow meditations. They actually help to calm down the symptoms, which in turn, when I'm not so scared of the symptoms, my nervous system can calm down a bit as well. So, and then the last thing I wrote here is that realizing that I'm type A. I used to think of myself as this chilled person, which I am. However, I have this side to me. Like, I'm the best person in the world at doing nothing. Or so I used to think. But then when I look back and I look at my career path and how I used to, I had an events company, which is one of the most intense professions one can have. And then I used to, raise my children while doing the events, and I was always on the phone, I was on the computer. I used to always tell the stories where I used to have someone on the phone while I'm changing a nappy and close deals like that. Or I would, back then, we couldn't use on our phones to work, so I would have a child in the high chair, give them a little spoon of their lunch, and run and finish an email and come back and give them the next spoon. Don't do it now. I mean, when did I rest? When did I look after myself? When did I kind of never? And if I did take time for myself, I would feel guilty all the time. So, and that achiever inside of me that from childhood kind of needed to prove myself to people, because I thought that people, didn't think I will ever amount to anything. So I had that thing, if I'm successful, if I'm doing this and this and that, then I'm worth something. So really realizing that personality type that I am, and it still takes over sometimes. It was a very big help.
So, as a parent, what has it been like trying to work through all of these things and work on your health?
Well, that's something that Pamela really helped me with. Because she helped me see that, all the changes I was putting in place, because I had to put loads of changes in place. So, the shopping that would come was mostly frozen pizzas, things that they can make themselves or that I can make very quickly. I had to delegate, and I'm lucky. I am really lucky. I mean, if you are a single mom like me with young children, and when you recover is, I don't know, it's way harder. I'm very blessed that I have. So I don't really have a network of support other than my children in that, except for some friends in the extended family, because everyone's quite far away. But my children two of them are adults and two of them are like late teens. So, they do the school run. They take her to and from school. And I had to kind of give up my pride with that, because it's I've been trying to build up to start the school run again, but it was just sending me back to bed again. So I had to just explaining to my girl, Pamela has this system where she divides tasks into sizes, extra large, medium, small, and I got my daughter into that. It's not to say that they liked it, or that my daughter sometimes says, "I hate CFS."
Yeah,
so,
we all do.
I know, don't we all? But it's just the thing of thinking of it as temporary, that it's not going to be like that forever. And as I get better, there's nothing that makes me happier when one of them says, "Wow, I can see you improving," because to me it's so gradual that I can't see it. But when one of them is saying, "Oh wow, look, you can do this, you can do that, you couldn't do it before," the main thing is really look at what you can reduce, and don't try to be a hero, and don't try to keep doing everything, because you can't recover like that. And I think that's a very, very big part of the gift that you've been given. It's likely that the reason why you have this condition is because you give too much, and because you don't listen to your body. And I also think that children forget, when the kids were young, and my events company was really successful, and I was able to give them so many experiences, and some of them they don't remember, especially my daughter, she remembers nothing. She's like a goldfish, and I'm like, what was the point of that? So I think, especially actually, in fact, sorry, Ellie, I know she's gonna watch it. I'm so sorry, please, I love you. But she knows this, okay. But with young children, they don't really remember. That's my experience. So just focus on yourself. That's what you're called to do. I think the most important for children is to know that they're loved. And again, it's something that they're going to remember as a bad experience. But I mean, isn't it the good and the bad that builds our character and makes us stronger as well? So it will make them maybe more compassionate. I mean, who knows? What do we know about what journey the souls of our children chose to have on this planet, you know? So I'm just talking this now, but just to say that this is not how I feel most of the time. Most of the time I do feel, or when things were worse, I was riddled with guilt all the time. But if I could watch my interview back then, what I want to say is, you're doing amazing, Mama, and do your best, and leave the rest. And I guess it's also a good example for children to see, to learn. I remember catching myself in the mirror a few years back and being very critical with my body, and I caught myself, and my daughter was there, and I was like, wait, what am I modeling to her? So in the same way, this is an opportunity to model self-care and listening to your body to our children.
That is such a good point. Yeah, absolutely. Normalizing self-care so that they don't get stuck in the same cycle. And I interviewed another parent recently, and she'd said her children were quite small, so it was very difficult. And there was a lot that she couldn't do. And for a while, it was like they didn't have a mother. But by really focusing on herself, then her children then got their mother back, so when she really had to take some of that time that would have been for them and put it on herself in the long run, in the big picture, they get a healthy, happy mother, for the rest of their lives, hopefully. So, Yael, you've shared a lot of stuff that's been helpful for you on your journey. And I know it's a lot for people watching to keep track of. So I'll do my best to link a lot of that stuff in the video description so you can go and see what some of those things were. But it's always interesting to hear what didn't work. So were there some things that you tried that were just like, no, no good?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so there's two things. One, just resting by itself wasn't going to get me out of it. I tried at some point. I thought, right, let me just rest, sleep. I stopped everything I was doing. No, didn't help. And the second thing is pushing through it. Because we used to, first of all, this is a hustle culture. I think things are changing for the better now. A lot of people are understanding that it's not sustainable, especially for women. But when you're trying to get fit, you push through pain, you push through, muscle ache, whatever. There's a thing where they say, like, just keep going, push yourself. It doesn't work with CFS, I'm afraid. It just sends you, it's malaise.
Yeah, it just causes all your symptoms to flare and you just get worse. And not only do we not listen to our body, like even when we start being aware enough to hear the signals, I've noticed that my reaction isn't like my body will be asking for something very clear. Like it's giving me one message, it's yelling at me. There's no confusion. It's saying, I'm tired. We've been working all day. It's time to rest. Like when the body's just telling me what to do. But my automatic thing quite often is to think, maybe not, should I rest? It's like, oh, maybe I need some coffee. Should I have some like sugar to help me push through? Or so it's re-changing all these ways of, how we approach our body in our life.
Yeah, I have different, not coffee and sugar, but I have different versions of what you just said. Yeah, like not the obvious answer, but
yeah. You can see your body getting so frustrated. No, it's not what I'm saying.
There's a famous physician called Gabor Mate. I don't know if you've heard of him. He wrote When the Body Says No, which, I haven't been able to read as much as I used to. I can do 5 to 10 minutes. I used to be able to read 2 hours a day. So I have the book. I haven't read it yet, but I've watched him on YouTube. And in one of his lectures, he was reading obituaries. Is that how you say it? For people who died?
Oh, yeah.
So obituaries of people who died of cancer. And it was all, she was so amazing. Even though she was sick, she still came to work and kept looking after everybody. Do you know what I mean? And he was just sharing one after the other of how these people did not. Their body said no, and they didn't listen. After I watched this, I actually made a list of all the things that my body is a no to, and it's quite interesting. For example, school run. I will not lie to you. Before, I hate the school run, and I remember doing it prior to that. We have to be really conscious and actually careful, full of care of the words that we utter and the thoughts that we entertain in our mind. Because I used to just walk down the road and thinking, I hate this, I don't want to do this school run, and I got what I wished for.
You talked a lot, or you've talked before to me about how you noticed how the female cycle impacts health and recovery with this. So what did you notice with that?
Yeah, so I'm lucky. I'm part of also the forum that the group program offers, and there's thousands of women on there, and so I posted a question there, and a lot of women have noticed because I started noticing that the female cycle, it starts the first day of your period, and it goes all the way till the next first day of your period, and most women notice, even healthy women notice kind of like a lesser energy before your period starts, and also it changes from woman to woman, but for some women also during the period, because simply the body again needs rest. So with the symptoms, a lot of women who have this condition notice dips around certain times of the month. Like I get it in 2 different times of the month. So it's very closely related. Yeah, I think it's important to, if you can monitor that, and also women who are in menopause. By the way, the moon influences your cycle, so you're still having some sort of cycle. So if you can notice it and even plan for it, I try not to plan too much because sometimes it doesn't happen, and I think just because I've thought about it, now it's going to happen. But it's something to expect, and maybe plan more restful days around the end of your cycle.
Yeah, that's really important because it's nice to know what's going on. Because when it feels like things are just coming out of nowhere, like, oh, why am I suddenly so tired again? Like, what is causing it this? At least when you have a sense of why it's happening, it's easier to accept it and plan for it. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I know you also put together a meditation course for people that sounds really amazing. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so the course itself isn't quite ready. I put together the curriculum, and I have a landing page, but then I put so much energy into that I kind of crushed a little bit afterwards, so I never managed to record it, but I am going to record it very soon. But what I have for all of your viewers is a free meditation. So what I mentioned before, the Louise Hay meditation, I've recorded a morning gratitude meditation that you don't really need to do anything. You don't even need to know how to meditate. You can do it while you're brushing your teeth, or you can do it if you're just laying in bed. And it's just really to try and fill your head with positive, uplifting messages. I found a lot of comfort in that, and I hope that you do too. And it's free for everyone that will click the link and sign up. You will get it for free. Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to try it myself. That's really nice of you to share that. Thank you. So how are you feeling? Because, you've made a lot of recovery. You've still got a ways to go. How are you feeling about, this last part of your recovery journey?
In a way, when you're making progress, actually, when you get a dip, it's more disheartening than in the beginning. I think you know that. I remember something that I saw Rebecca say that at some point she started waking up in the morning thinking, oh, I have energy today. What am I going to do? So that is kind of my goal, to have that every day. And I'm having more and more days like that. So my main focus is really to not forget everything I'm learning and everything I've learned, And I say I want my old life back, but I don't want my old life back. I want my new life back. I want to be able to take this more intuitive way of being while fulfilling my purpose and my destiny in the world, but really stopping and smelling the roses. I want to feel life. I don't want to be in a position again like I used to be, where everything just, days and weeks and months and years just pass so quickly, and I don't know what's happened. I just really want to experience life to the full. And for me, it's not doing more; it's actually feeling and being more. And yeah, I mean, today is a good day, so I'm feeling hopeful. I mean, if we did this interview on a not so good day, it would have looked completely different. But I am feeling that I'm on the right track. And anybody that believes in God, if you want to say a prayer for me, I take all the prayers that I can get. I do feel that I believe with all my heart that I'm going to recover. How long will it take is really not up to me anymore. I've given up on trying to rush through this. I'm just accepting. I'm trying to accept, however long it takes, as frustrating as it can be sometimes. I put my faith in God and I trust in, faith is hope in things unseen. But this is something I have seen. I've seen, seen myself full of energy, waking up in the morning, leaping out of bed. So, and also, remembering that this expectation that we have of health is not really realistic. I realize that nobody feels amazing all the time.
I think that's an incredible answer. I think it's a perfect answer. Very well said. And I still struggle with that end part all of the time. This expectation that I'm supposed to feel 100%, every day of the year, but that's just not how the body works. Or I have this expectation that I'm going to be this perfect picture of self-care, and that's not how life goes either. Like, you'll have good weeks, good days, bad days. And it's kind of just I think it's just getting better at not getting stuck in the bad self-care time for too long and catching yourself and getting back on track and doing less. I think, as you said, it's not about doing more necessarily. It's about slowing down and just kind of being present in life and enjoying it. Well, I really appreciate you doing this today, Yael. Thank you so much. You shared so many great insights and helpful things here. I know people will really appreciate it.
I hope so.
So I like to end with, if you have any messages or thoughts for people that are watching that are still currently facing this, what would you say to them?
It's actually something Jason said to me. Just looked me in the eye and he was like, don't give up. You are totally going to get out of it. Don't give up. If you try something and it doesn't work, try something else. Do not give up on yourself. Have faith. I believe that you can recover from this. So I know even if you're having a bad day today, my heart is with you. I know how you feel. You're not alone in this. And I know it can feel very, very lonely, but you're not alone.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. And for those of you watching, I know this is a lot to take in. So if you're not already signed up for my email newsletter, I send one out about once a week, and I put the highlights from these interviews. So if you can't capture, or if you can't watch them all, or you can't remember everything that was in them, it's just a quick summary of what the person found didn't help, what did help, and the main resources that helped them to recover. So there's a link in the video description for that as well, if you'd like to sign up. So thank you again, Yael. Thank you to all of you who are watching, sending massive hugs to you for whatever you're facing. Just like Yael said, don't give up. Keep at it. You have totally got this. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope to see you in the next one.